Anything new in the news today? I've been looking. Oh, no, just kidding you. JD here. Good to have you on board. Wow, what a news day already, and it's only high noon here in the West. Good to have you on board. We always appreciate when you carve out some of your time to spend it with us here on the program where intellectual anarchy is encouraged and nurtured. For now, Marcella working the dials. Brad busting his chops today to chop up as much audio as humanly possible in the time constraints that we have to work with getting ready for the show. And a yeoman's job, I must say. Well done today, Brad, producing the program. Emails at the website, jerrydoyle.com. And the poll question up there for you today. Did SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, Chief Justice John Roberts, siding with 4 Libs to uphold Obamacare, which imposes a new health care tax on 45 million people and uses the IRS as an enforcement tool, help or hurt Obama's re-election chances? Help him or hurt him? 33% says it helped Obama in November. 67% said it hurt Obama in November. We'll take your answer there at the website. Or join us here now to pipe in with your take on the Supreme Court's take on Obamacare at 800-876-4123. Now, for those of you who don't have the desire, the ability, or the time to watch 3 separate cabloid, that's cable TV and tabloid news combined in one. If you didn't have the time or the ability or the desire to watch 3 concurrent hours of cabloid television, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox at 0700 this morning when the announcement came down on the mandate and Obamacare, we've condensed that 3 hours into 3 minutes. I give you cabloid television trying to be the first with the worst.
After over a year of debate, today, after all the votes have been tallied, health insurance reform becomes law in the United States of America.
We are minutes away from the U.S. Supreme Court's health care ruling.
And this is a live picture of the United States Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., where an historic announcement is only a few moments away.
Good morning. We have just gotten the opinion. I'm just getting a first look at it.
John, hold on a second. Kate Baldwin has got some information. Kate, go ahead. Tell us what's going on.
This is our first reading. We're still going through the reading, the opinion.
The individual mandate cannot be sustained under Congress's power to regulate commerce. That means the mandate is gone.
It appears as if the Supreme Court justices have struck down the individual mandate.
Let me interrupt you. We're going to Pete now, Andrea. Pete Williams at the court.
They've said that it can't be upheld under the Commerce Clause. The individual mandate can't. This is Chief Justice Roberts writing for the court. But he said it can be upheld under the court's taxing authority.
I just want to caution the viewers because it's very early. We haven't had a chance to read this thing. We're just getting excerpts.
We're going to get a lot more information. This is just the initial headline that we're getting from inside the Supreme Court.
Be patient with us as we work through this. Megan, you're seeing something now.
Wait, we're getting conflicting information. Despite what Shannon just read, that the individual mandate is surviving as a tax.
So you just heard Kate say that the Chief Justice, John Roberts, saying that, yes, under the tax provisions, under the tax writing provisions of Congress and the president would sign it into law, that this would be allowed.
We are reading through this to see how the count, how the vote count went within the justices, because it looks like there are a lot of differing, concurring, and maybe even pluralities here.
So, under the direct tax clause, we are getting to that. A tax ongoing without health insurance is not like a capitation or other direct tax. It therefore need not be apportioned so that each state pays. And then we get into even more complicated language on the spending clause.
The sprinkler system turned on here, and we all got sprayed with water. And it's a mad scramble. People with cameras, people with laptops. We have done the mad scramble. We all got a little bit of a wash here.
What has the White House said today?
They are clearly celebrating. You don't have to take my word for it. Patrick Gaspard, a former top White House aide who's now at the Democratic National Committee, a few moments ago, sent out a tweet that's slightly profane. It said, quote, "It's constitutional," and then the next word starts with a B and rhymes with riches.
They didn't want to say it was a tax, if you recall. They kept wanting to call it a penalty. This goes into the whole political argument. Exactly. Republicans were, at the time they were trying to win over Republican votes. I mean, this is a case where, legally they're happy.
The Republicans were prepared to argue today that Barack Obama's entire 4 years of his presidency were wasted on this major initiative. And this ruling, if it is as we understand it to be, completely completely undercuts that argument. So politically, this has to be a big win for the White House.
We had talked about this all week, knowing that we would get an announcement from the Supremes, but not truly understanding the impact of the ruling and what the practical application could be.
It's a little bit beyond my ability to comprehend.
There you have. There you have 3 hours of cabloid coverage. We speculate. We can't even decide, but we're going to try and read a 193-page Supreme Court decision in real time. The mandate's out. No, the mandate's in. The mandate's in because of a tax? No, it's in not because of a tax. It's because of a penalty. Well, a penalty is a tax, isn't it? Well, let's back. No, this just, I'm trying to keep track of this morning, and it's no wonder people out there are confused as to just what the hell is going on. Now, I was reading a lot of comments online this morning, and a lot of Republicans, a lot of conservatives, a lot of people on Fox News and Republican Talk Radio are talking smack about Chief Justice John Roberts, that he went to the dark side, that he's joined the left, that apparently someone or someone's got to him and put some kind of pressure on him that would force him to uphold the constitutionality of the Affordable Care Act, hence Obamacare, hence the individual mandate. And now some people are just losing their mind over the fact that Roberts apparently has lost his mind. Or has he? Or has he? Do you remember when Obama smacked down the Supreme Court in the State of the Union address? And Justice Roberts at the time mouthed the words back to him, "Not true." I would like to think that Justice Roberts can make a differentiation between Chief Justice John Roberts and citizen John Roberts. I would like to think that there is a distinct difference between those two, and even though personally he might not agree with the direction that this socialist administration is taking the country, that constitutionally he has to abide by the rule of law, and he has to interpret whether or not the rule of law has been applied and whether or not that law is constitutional. And basically, after the House votes and the Senate votes and the president signs, he's looking at whether or not that's constitutional, and judgment reserved for the people, we the people. But a part of me says Chief Justice John Roberts sided with the liberal justices to send a message that the direction we're going in and the power grab by this socialist president. You say you want Obamacare. You say you want universal health care. You say you want an individual mandate, even though you don't call it a mandate, you'll call it a penalty or you call it a tax. You got it, Barack. You got it. And now Obama has it. Now, if you listen to Obama's speechifying today in the East Room of the White House, if you listen to what he had to say, and we're going to play that for you in part throughout the show, you would look at the road to health happiness that was paved by Obama and the Democrats, and you'd say, I want to go down that road. But if you knew the landmines along the way, you'd probably say we need to go in a different direction. Obama looked very presidential today. He looked very confident today. I wouldn't say smug, but I would just say that he had this kind of like, yeah. You see, this is the way it is in fair America. This is the way it is when government does for the people what government should do for the people when people can't do for themselves. And I think he thinks he got a big victory today. But I think Justice John Roberts, siding with the liberals, just gave a huge advantage to Mitt Romney in November. Because this goes far beyond health care. This goes far beyond SB 1070 in Arizona. This goes to the huge power grab and the Constitution be damned mentality of this administration. And if they can do this to immigration and they can do this to health care, what else can they do to us when the courts uphold the right for a government to decide whatever it is we're going to do. You now are going to see 45 million people that are going to be hit with a health care tax. And if they don't pay that tax, call it a penalty, call it what you want. There are going to be enforcement mechanisms that are in place that have already been budgeted that are going to make sure that you will comply. Because that was told to us in the precursor to Obamacare, in the aftermath of Hillary Care, when Hillary Clinton was talking with George Stephanopoulos back in February of 2008, February 3rd, 2008 to be exact. And in the first clip here on ABC's weekend program with Stephanopoulos, this is what she had to say, introducing the notion of enforcement mechanisms, and those who can pay but choose not to, well, they will.
You know, about 20% of the people who don't have health insurance in America today could well afford it, even at the cost that it is, which is exorbitant. So what we've got to do is have shared responsibility. Everybody has to pay something.
Everybody has to pay something. Stephanopoulos says, well, what if they don't pay?
If people can afford it and they don't buy the insurance, will their wages be garnished under your plan? Will they have to pay fines?
Well, they don't have to pay fines, George. We want them to have insurance. We want it to be affordable. And what I have said is that there are a number of ways of doing that. You know, there's not just one way of getting to that. I think you can automatically enroll people, and you will then say, you've got to be part of this.
You've got to be a part of this. And you can put ... after a part of this, whether it's health care or whatever it is the government determines, you will be a part of this, fill in the blank. But Stephanopoulos, who usually gives a pass to people like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and other socialist-minded individuals on the left, he went back at her again and said, no, wait a minute. What do you mean by these enforcement mechanisms? Explain to me how it is exactly that you're going to get people to comply.
You talked about automatic enrollment. Will you garnish wages of people who don't comply, don't buy the insurance?
George, we will have an enforcement mechanism, whether it's that or it's some other mechanism through the tax system or automatic enrollments. And the reason why I think there are a number of mechanisms, you know, going after people's wages, automatic enrollment, when you are at the place of employment, you will be automatically enrolled. Whatever the mechanism is not as important as, number one, the fundamental commitment to universal health care.
You will comply. You will comply. See, it's not important how we get you to comply. What's more important is what we, the government, want you to do. And you will do it, and you will comply, because we will figure out a way to get you to comply. You got a refund coming from the IRS? No, you don't. You have a tax credit that's due you or your business? You're not going to get it. Because we're going to get what we want, which is government in the role of making the decisions for the individuals. And if you do not comply, you will be penalized. You will be taxed. You will do what we tell you to do.
The Jerry Doyle Show.
I thought they only did that kind of crap in Commie China or Soviet Russia. What else is it that they could tell us we have to comply with? And if we don't comply, let's say we choose to drive an SUV or live in a 5,000 square foot house or keep our homes heated to 78 in the winter or cooled to 67 in the summer, you can do that. There'll be a penalty, but you can do it because we believe in people's right to choose. Hopefully they remember that in November. Stick with me.
This is the Jerry Doyle Show.